Hey guys, my name is Moon and welcome back for more Witch on the Holy Night. So last episode we did chapter 1.5, right? Pretty much like I guess a bunch of side stories. And we saw more characters, I guess, right? We saw Sojiro's friend, Kinomi, Tobimaru, and then we also met people in the church like Sister Yuka, right? And Hanazawa as well. And I guess we got a taste of how the combat is in this visual novel with Alice, right? She was fighting with her, I guess, familiars last time, right? So let us continue. Let us do the next episode today, or at least start it, next episode. Little happening of last night. Sojiro sighed listlessly. Okay, no. Okay, there we go. I was just testing the controls again. I forgot. Every time we start a new episode, I always forget the controls in this game. He looked down at the winter schoolyard below, lost in thought. December was written on the corner of the chalkboard. He could not believe 10 days had already passed since he transferred to the school. The last vestiges of autumn had faded with the change of the month. The trees were all but barren and the ground below them a mat of fallen leaves. Fourth period was classics. An elderly teacher stood at the lectern and rambled on. While he had finally gotten used to the classroom, he still had a long way to go to get up to speed in his classes. Lacking even the basic understanding most students learn in their early scholastic life, it was a battle for Sojiro to keep up. Even if he was unable to grasp all the content right away, he at least tried to memorize everything in the hope that he could make use of it down the road. Which is why losing himself in his thoughts was about the last thing he should have been doing. He would normally chastise himself for daydreaming, but probably he was unable to concentrate in class today. Sojiro could not place a source of his lack of concentration. It could not have been the winter in the city. It was much milder than in the mountains. Neither was his part-time job particularly tiring. He was not any more physically fatigued than the average student, so that could not be it either. Others might conclude that it was because the courses were boring, but that seemed off the mark too. Sojiro did not share his classmates' opinions about their classes. On the contrary, he rather enjoyed his class time. No, his frame of mind was not to blame either. Trying to figure out what was wrong only made him more depressed. He scolded himself and turned his attention to the chalkboard. The rhythmic ticks of the chalk were sending him into a slumber, but he somehow managed to resist their lullaby. And yet, he was unable to focus on class. Sojiro reflected silently as was his custom and sighed inwardly. Deep down, he knew the real source of his agitation. The events of the previous night were the only thing it could be. With a chime to signal the end of class, the teacher bowed and exited into the hallway. To see him off, the 30 or so students all stood up from their desks. The clock, which had been seemed to slow dramatically around 11:30, now struck noon. The tension seemed to fade from the room all at once. The release from a difficult lesson. was the start of lunchtime, the highlight of school life. Misaki High's cafeteria was not particularly known for its quality of food. Complaints that the quality was below that of a private school went unheeded, and the same unique flavors appeared on the menu each and every day. Private school prices coupled with subpar quality led the majority of the students to opt for boxed lunches instead. Sojiro's Class 2C was no exception. The boys muscled as many as 10 desks into what resembled a long dining table. Conversely, the girls divided themselves into smaller tables at 2 or 3 desks with practiced ease and started chatting within their cliches. Not a single student wasted even a second of their precious lunchtime. Were both sides different in method, they shared a common goal. So how about you guys? When it was lunchtime, I mean at least for me, in my school, when it was lunchtime, I get to go home. Yeah, and then you could eat there. So basically, it was free, right? But yeah, then I went to another school. Then yeah, there you couldn't go home. But it was fun. It was nice. How about you guys? Do you eat at school? Do you eat at home? Oh. Soldier was struck dumb by the efficiency of the transformation. Even after 10 days, he wasn't able to keep pace with the rest of the class and remained seated where he had sat during the previous period.
Oi! Kochiko Shizuki!
The voice came from the large makeshift dining table near the window. Hosuke Kinomi was beckoning him over while leaning back in his chair in a way that looked like he could fall backward at any second. He was regularly shot down by others in the class for being lazy and crass, but his earnest nature kept him from getting on anyone's bad side. Though, something could be said for not being so forthcoming all the time too.
飯にしようぜ、飯。俺さ、昨日店の残り物もらいすぎたんだよ。春巻きだよ、春巻き。それを見た親父がさ、もらったもんは残すなってうるさくてさ。
It seemed his endgame was to find someone who might take pity on him and trade him for something better. So he wants to trade his spring rolls for a different food. The two of them worked at the same restaurant, so he was one of the few people Sojiro knew before starting school. He was also the reason Sojiro was able to learn the true meaning of the phrase, "Can't live with them, can't live without them."
お、いいな。しずきも来いよ。今日は待ちに待った缶詰祭りをすっからさ。ついに結婚するのかよ。誰か冷静になった方がいいんじゃないのか、実際。バカ、すげえ楽しいってきっと。そりゃパチモン臭いけど、カニ缶とか食い放題なんだぜ。サバ缶じゃなくて。
Canned crab. I've never seen a canned crab in my life.
マジ？やったー！俺も参加する！コンビーフは一人一個？それとも早い者勝ち？
お前な、一人で何個も食えるもんじゃねえぞあれ。うまいのは最初の1個だけだって。しずきたちが来るならノルマは一人7個に下がるのか。助かるな。
ところで木の実の弁当の中身、なんか缶詰より硬そうじゃね？
What, so they like the canned food better? The boys usually pass the time by making fun of each other's lunches, but today they were united against a common foe. A pyramid of countless cans stood in the middle of the table. They had all been taken from the pantry of a certain student's house, and the expiration dates on them had all been scribbled out with a marker. Okay.
よし、やろうども。各自毎缶切りの用意はいいな。
But I've never seen a person who brought canned food as a lunch in school. Or no, maybe what I mean is removed it already. Yeah, removed it from the can and put it in another container. Not the can itself, yeah.
食べるも地獄、残すも地獄。我ら5次元目の授業はないものと恐れぬ修羅となり、鉄の悪魔どもを平らげん。食材は下町の何でも紹介、マーケット中山からの提供です。
ヒュー！バカも休み休みイエーイ！
The boys united as one and hoisted their can openers into the air. I mean, it looks like it's fun though. Yeah, at least they're having fun with it.
ほらしずきも食べようぜ。缶切りならまだあるからさ。いや、君らの弁当の毒味はごめんだって昨日言ったはずだ。それにその缶詰半分以上賞味期限切れてるだろう。
Yeah, what if they're expired for like 1 year already, right?
なんだよ、釣れねえな。
Quite an inexplicably excited group of guys. Their real motivation seemed to be to spread the pain. But how long does canned food last, by the way, right? Like you see in, let's say, what do you call this, post-apocalyptic or like zombie shows or movies, there's always canned food, right? I mean, yes, all of those are past expiration date already, so I guess it's still good because of all the preservatives on that canned food, right? Probably. But moved by their energy and conceding defeat, Sojiro got up from his seat and joined them. And before he could...
じゃあ私たちが釣り上げようかな。しずきくん、あんなの放っておいて一緒にどう？
Ooh, he's getting invited by the ladies. Another interested party joined the fray. A girl with a short but stylish hair had called out to him. She had also tried to get Sojiro to join the track and field club several days earlier. Okay, we now know why she's asking him. Because she wants him to join a track and field club.
いや、そっちも遠慮したいな、できれば。
He answered with a troubled look on his face. On their table was nothing but a pile of fruit a Sojiro had never seen before.
なんで？パパイヤとか嫌い？マンゴーもあるし、ヤシの実だってあるし、内緒だけど、夕張メロンもあるんだから。
Yubari melon? What is a Yubari melon? The members of the fruit group pumped their fists in unison at the last delicacy.
待て、なんだヤシの実って、あれ食えるもんなの？あ、マンゴー余ったら回してほしいな。
バカ、肉食え肉。そんなんだから貧弱な体してんだぞ、お前ら。
Sojiro couldn't keep track of all the voices flying across the room.
わかるのはどっちも破滅的だってことだけだ。
That being said, he found it difficult to refuse them outright. His tendency to accept others' goodwill at face value occasionally left him frozen with indecision. Not accustomed to regular human interaction, he was unable to judge when it was or was not appropriate to turn someone down. Someone tapped the lost little lamb on the shoulder.
ほっとけほっとけ。
Oh, it's our
い
friend
ちいち
here.
ここのバカどもに付き合ってちゃ人生台無しだ。適当に流しとけばいいんだよ。
It's our friend from last episode.
ほら、お前らもな、善良な羊を悪の園に引きずり込んでんじゃねえよ。
And an appropriately loud voice echoed throughout the classroom from behind him.
副会長。
Also, he's vice president? I didn't know that. Did he mention it last time? Maybe I didn't see. Sojiro turned around to see a boy about a head taller than him. His long hair, while unkempt, had been brushed back, giving it an appealing windswept look. I mean, look at him. He's intense, right? His attractive features belied the contempt for the classroom his eyes carried. Unlike the perpetually dopey-looking Sojiro, he was an extremely attractive boy, capable of captivating anyone who so much as glanced at him. In most cases, such a boy's presence would be met with awe and respect. However,
なんだよ、副会長様のお出ましかよ。てめえらのバカ顔にはコリゴリだって学食に陣取ってたんじゃなかったのかよ。
へへへ。ここは見ての通り、ボンクラどもが集う貧民街でございますよ。王子はほら、A組の綺麗どころとカフェでお茶でもしてればいいじゃない。
またしずき呼びに来たのかよ。青子女子といい、飛び丸殿下といい、しずきなんかヤバいことしちゃったのか。
しずきくんは校則違反しないじゃん。ちょっとそれ以外のルール破るだけで。ってことはや 虹くん、青崎に振られてからそっちに走ったって本当だったのね。
They continued to give him a hard time. Sojiro could not help but feel sorry for him. The class vice president, on the other hand, showed absolutely no reaction whatsoever. He glared at them with a bored look and simply raised his voice.
相変わらず無駄に元気があって結構じゃねえかてめえら。
By the way, I saw that this show, or not this show, this visual novel will be getting an anime adaptation soon, so that is pretty good, right?
そんなに活力たぎってんなら冬季特別清掃班にだって参加できるよな。おい、今んところ自主的に申し出てるのは全校で一人しかいねえんだ。西井全員が参加すりゃ俺も青崎も肩の荷が下りるってもんなんだがよ。
The menacing growl in his voice contrasted greatly with the boy's well-constructed looks. Both Team Can and Team Fruit's words were doused like a fire being smothered. This was partly due to the fear of the boy, but mostly due to their fear of the special winter cleaning team. Yes, the special winter cleaning team. Joining meant spending part of your winter break cleaning up the old school building and mountainous rear courtyard that had been neglected by the previous two student councils. It was a form of legalized torture that could potentially ruin 3 whole days of your winter break. And me personally, if we had this, I would join something like this, yeah, because I don't even do anything on vacations like this. And forget about any compensation in the form of extra credits. It was pointless volunteer work for a student council project. It was practically a miracle that they had found even a single volunteer. I would volunteer, yeah.
いや僕らちょっと体弱いんでスミッチョで缶詰食べてますね。
私たちも貧血気味で、こうやって果物食べてないと死んじゃうっていうか、冬休みはもう予定いっぱいっていうか。
All of the students but one scuffled away.
よし、昼食はやっぱり静かにやらねえとな。1年坊主の教室より2年の教室の方がやかましいなんて苦情、いい加減にしやがれよ、アホども。
The mob meekly scurried away. Sojiro turned to join them, but as he did,
お前はこっちだ、宗次郎。ちょい顔貸せ。
the hand on his shoulder held him in place.
だよ、生徒会応募。人んちのテーブルマナーまで指図してほしくねえよな。
Kinomi cursed him under his breath to his friends. The second the vice president turned to go.
はあ？上等じゃねえか、木の実。いいぜ。お前が記念すべき2人目だ。冬休み、首を洗って待ってやがれ。
The vice president must have heard everything Kinomi said, because he gave a thumbs up before figuratively jabbing it in his eye.
はあ？何言ってんですかあいつ。あれ自主的なイベントじゃん。いくら副会長だって強制はできないですよね。
The problem child of Class C laughed merrily.
そりゃ昨日までの話だ。会長の提案が学校側に受理されてな。本日付で生徒会役員は強制力のある推薦権をもらえたんだよ。特に会長と副会長の推薦は絶対だ。拒否した場合、学校側はともかく青崎が何するか俺には止められねえから、そのつもりでな。
それ事実上の死刑宣告じゃ。生徒会マジ応募。
Kinomi's terrified shrieking continued behind them as the vice president and Sojiro left the classroom. They left. But I'm liking this slice of life again, I guess.
お前も大変だな、宗十郎。
あんたも割と暇なんだな、副会長。
Is this the student council room? Okay. No, I just imagined because of how intense Aoko is, and then so Bimaru here. I thought it would be like super big for some reason. I don't know why. But I kind of felt like that. But yeah, it's I guess a normal student council room that you see in I guess in animes and shows. Yeah, pretty normal, I guess. Misaki High's student council had the use of 2 rooms, and they also have a water heater on the bottom left there. You see that? They can make tea. One was a large office specifically made for the student council. The second was an archive room once used as a preparatory office for math courses. As the latter of the two, the walls were lined with densely packed shelves, making an already cramped room seem even more confined. For this reason, it served more as a private refuge to the student council. The 2 students sat across from one another. Tobimaru Tsukiji. He was the son of the chairman of Misaki High School and the vice president of its school council. Like Sojiro, he was in his 2nd year and first met the transfer student a week earlier when task of looking after him was dumped onto the student council.
副会長はやめろって。クソったれな話だが、俺は所詮会長の犬だからな。
The president's dog. As self-depreciating as his words were, he hardly seemed dissatisfied with this arrangement. He took a snack from his pocket and grimaced at it before taking a bite. The 100-calorie energy bar sacrificed flavor for efficacy, but somehow not enough to prevent him gnawing on it like a piece of jerky.
そうか。でも犬は良くないな、飛び丸。
Sojiro sat in the chair with a concerned look on his face.
あ？犬がどうしたって？
犬は良くないって言った。例えが違う気がするし、何より怖いぞ、あれ。
That's insulting. But dogs are way scarier.
なんだよ。山奥育ちのくせに犬が怖いのか？
そりゃ大抵の生き物は怖いけど、犬は別格だ。徒党を組んだ野犬ほど始末に負えないものはない。足の速さも脅威だけど、何より執念深すぎる。坂だろうと追いかけてくるし、最後の一匹になるまで引かないんだぞ。
Sojiro opened his lunch as he spoke. Inside the bright green cloth, a tree beautifully made triangular rice balls.
ショックだ。
ショックって何が？
いや、そんなこの世のものとは思えない握り飯を見たのは初めてだ。思わず絶句しちまった。
それどっちなんだ？
褒めてるんだよ、バカ。
Sojiro was always confounded by phrasing that could be interpreted in multiple ways. Euphemism and subtle sarcasms were often lost on him. It was only on rare occasions like this one that he chose to confirm what was being said. Tobimaru had come to suspect that Sojiro had a very black and white way of seeing things.
ところで、その固まった小麦粉みたいなの、美味しいのか
？Sojiro stared at the energy bar with a curious look on his face.
まずくはねえが、うまくもねえよ。
Ooh, he's gonna give us...
試してみる分には止めねえが。
He's gonna let us taste it.
人間、何事も手間暇惜しむようになっちゃおしまいだぜ。
Tobimaru quickly finished off his bar, but put another one on the table and grabbed one of Sojiro's rice bowl. Okay, so we got an exchange. Sojiro failed to notice the rudeness of the forced exchange and gave the proffered energy bar a try.
なんだか土を食べてるみたいだ。
It kind of tastes like dirt.
違いない。遊びをなくせば人生こんなもんだって見本だな。
Out of principle, Sojiro labored over his energy bar, cringing all the while. He was about curious of the unknown and loath to leave something unfinished.
今無理に平らげる必要はねえぞ。そいつの利点は携帯食ってところだからな。素で味気ないが、食えるうちは味が落ちないのがいいところだ。まあそっちはともかく。どうだ、少しは慣れたか？
ああ、飛び丸や青崎が気を使ってくれているからね。
Tobimaru turned his eyes up to the ceiling, unable to handle Sojiro's carefree smile. As absent-minded as Sojiro might have been, his expressions were nonetheless incredibly earnest. It was like poison to someone as self-absorbed as Tobimaru.
だから青崎は来ねえんだよな。
He took a bite from the rice bowl to steer himself away from such thoughts. Though now cold, the rice had managed to maintain its freshness, startling Tobimaru.
ん？いや待て。気を使ってんのは俺だけじゃねえか。青崎なんてお前が転入した日に彼迷惑だから見張ってての一言だけだぞ。
なんでそこで君が怒るんだ？
いや、だからだな。お前が学校になれるよう陰ながら見守ってんのは俺で、青崎は生徒会室で全校生徒の弱みを集めてるだけって話だ。面倒な苦労してんのは俺だけじゃねえかって。
Tobimaru stopped himself, realizing how ridiculous he sounded. Sojiro, rightly so, knew it. It was nothing to get this upset over. Well, okay.
いいさ。青崎に言いつけられなきゃこうなることもなかったしな。知ってるか？あいつどうして俺にこんな役させたと思う？
副会長だからだろ。
Tobimaru's handsome face went dark.
あのな、どうして副会長が転入生一人にかかりっきりにならなくちゃいけねえんだよ。いいぜ。機会があったら青崎本人に聞いてみな。あいつの本性がわかるからよ。
He snatched another bite of the rice bowl while grumbling under his breath. There it was again, rice grains that were just dry enough to be fresh and tender in the mouth, a morsel that betrayed its humble description, which must have been a delicacy molded by a master chef rather than a haphazardly clumped into a bowl.
そして何よりこの塩加減、中の具から染み出した厳妙な醤油加減はどうだ。食欲をそそるどころか脳を食欲だけにするような。おお。
飛丸、思ってることが口に出てるみたいだけど。
Yeah, Tobimaru has reached enlightenment after eating that rice bowl.
あ、いや、それほどのショックだったってわけだ。なあ、その字、これ具はなんだ？
It was only natural to inquire about the unexpectedly delicious bite. He had been nibbling around the edges and had not yet reached its center.
ああ、それはイナゴ。
Grasshopper? What?
ありえねえ。
The vice president choked on his cough. He had assumed that Sojiro would prefer earthly ingredients instead of seafood on account of his mountain life, but he never expected he would use grasshoppers.
くそ、食う前に言えよな。信じられねえぐらいうまいと思っちまったじゃねえか。
But is it real though, or is he just making fun of him?
ああ、今のは嘘だよ。
Okay. They locked eyes for a moment.
本当は鮭。いくらなんでもイナゴはね。
おお、そうだよな。いや、安心した。いくらなんでもイナゴはねえよな。
But yeah, in some countries they would eat grasshopper though. But yeah, I wouldn't eat that.
ああ、 こんな都会で身の締まったイナゴが手に入るもんか。
Oh, okay. So if there was, he was gonna eat it. As curious as those words were, Tobimar decided to let them go.
たく、どっちにしても冗談きついぜ。危うく吐き出すところだったじゃねえか。らしくねえぞ、宗十郎。
君が青崎の悪口を言うからだ。
Sojiro closed his eyes as he continued to chew on his rice ball. Tobimar watched incredulously as Sojiro made no attempt to hide his disapproval.
おい、今のはさすがに聞き捨てならねえぞ。俺が青崎の悪口を言ったから意趣返しをしたと、そういうことか？
Sojiro continued chewing. The country boy's silent protest said all that needed to be said. The vice president suddenly looked like he had been struck by lightning.
なんてこった。お前、まさか青崎に惚れてんのか？そうなのか？そうなんだな。おい、眠ってねえで起きろ。
I guess he likes, yeah, Aoko as well, right? That's why he's like this now. He's like, oh, do you really like her? He found a rival. Tobimaru flew out of his chair and violently shook Sojiro by the shoulders. Sojiro opened his eyes.
そうか。お前は1年前の惨劇を知らないんだな。知ってりゃ、そんなストレートな破滅願望を持つこともなかったろうに。
君の言葉には誤解が含まれてるけど、それは後にする。それより、1年前の惨劇って？
ん？
Tobimaru regained his composure and sat down after a moment's thought.
仕方ねえ。この手の噂をするのは好きじゃねえんだけどな。
Tobimaru reassured himself that it was in Sojiro's best interest as a young man to know.
あれは青崎がまだ1年の頃の話だ。あの頃はみんな入学したばっかりで、青崎がどんな性格か誰も知らなかった。あいつ外見は文句なしに美人だからな。そりゃ男どもは狂気乱舞したもんさ。
Little did they know that soon after they would go crazy for an entirely different reason.
4月5月はもう上を下への大騒ぎだよ。あの時ばかりは上級生も下級生もなかったな。野郎同士の牽制、共闘、果ては決闘まで。まあよくも騒いだもんさ。青崎に近寄るだけでも大変だったんだぜ。
なんでそんなよくわからない事態になるんだ？
そりゃ青崎は一人きり、命知らずな野郎は延べ100人ほどいたからだよ。
So I guess she's really, really popular. I mean, I guess.
一人一人青崎とランチしても3ヶ月かかるだろ。
What, she had lunch with all of them? One by one?
だからまずは男同士でつまんねえ暗闘があったのさ。
おお。
まあいい。わからねえならそこは飛ばそう。所詮負け犬どもの話だしな。本筋にはなりえねえ。でな、そんなどうでもいい戦いを勝ち残った奴らは列なして1年の女に言い寄ったわけだ。青崎はあれでなんていうか、相手のなけなしの誠意じゃなくてあれか、勇気、そういうのを無視できずに認めちまうやつだからな。言い寄ってくる相手を可能な限り丁寧に断ってた。が中にはそれで勘違いしちまうやつもいたよ。3年のある野郎がこれは脈ありと見て青崎に何度も言い寄ったんだよ。多分そいつ頭がおかしかったんだ。今にして思うとそうとしか思えん。
Incidentally, Tobimar decided to gloss over the fact that this student was also the former student council president. Oh.
学園ばかりか。青崎の家まで押しかけたそうでな。あまりにしつこいんで、青崎も堪忍袋の尾が切れたんだろう。ちょっと口にするのははばかられる方法で振ったんだよ。
So this guy was stalking her. And they were classmates, or I guess, yeah, on the same school. Jesus.
結果、そいつは自分から他校に転入希望したばかりか、三崎町からも逃げ出しちまって、青崎も1ヶ月ばかり自宅謹慎を食らった。
Oh, she got arrested because of that. Okay.
世に言う血の公会堂事件だ。
So I guess she beat him up so bad, right? I mean, the dude was following her home. Come
詳し
on.
く知りたけりゃ本人はまずいな。新聞部にでも行け。あそこの部長は命知らずだから、聞けば面白がって教えてくれる。
But yeah, but let's say, right? But what if this is different, right? Like, this was not a, what do you call this? A stalker for love, right? Maybe it was an actual enemy, right? That Aoko beat up, right? Just like when we saw Alice fighting, right? Maybe what if this guy was actually a bad guy, really, right? And that's why Aoko beat him up. But yeah, the story that they're saying is this student council president really liked her and was stalking her, right? Because of love, right? Maybe it's a different one. Maybe if we ask Aoko, maybe, yeah, in the future, right? She would say like, oh, that guy was actually a bad person, really, right? We'll see.
飛丸、その具体的な表現を恋に避けてないか。
仕方ねえだろ。理事長の息子だろうがなんだろうが、怖いものは怖えし、高校ぐらいは無事卒業しとかねえとな。うちの女子の制服見るたびに規制を上げるトラウマなんて持ちたくねえよ。
Sojiro tilted his head to the side in confusion. Tobimaro had lost him with that comment.
まあいい。それより、なんで青崎なんかがいいんだよ、宗次郎。
He tilted his head again, this time to the other side.
おい、お前、本当に青崎が好きなのか？単に胸がドキドキ言ってるだけなら、それは恋じゃなくて恐怖だってオチもあるぜ。いくらその字がぼんやりでも、理由ってもんがあるだろう。
He tilted his head even further. What Tobimaro was saying sounded off, but Sojiro decided not to press the matter. All the more because he found many of his own emotions towards Aozaki to be incomprehensible.
そうだな、おかしい。俺はあまり彼女を知らないのにね。
That was because they had not truly spoken to each other since the day she showed him around. Every time Sojiro tried to talk to her, she immediately got up and left. As fate would have it, they ended up working together that recent Sunday, but made only idle chatter on the way back.
けど飛丸、君は知らないだけなんだ。時々なんだが、誰かの視線を感じて振り返ってみると、いつ失敗するかを心配して見ている人がいる。飛丸の言う通り、ただ廊下で俺を見かけて単に監視していただけなのかもしれない。本当は俺のことなんて気にせず素通りしたいのかもしれない。けどどんな種類であれ彼女の心配は本物だ。それにここが一番大事だと思うんだけど、実際の話、青崎のそういうところのおかげで俺は助かっていたりするんだ。
His tone was measured and sincere. Tobimaro sighed with a tinge of regret. If not for those words, he could have not introduced Sojiro to a more suitable girl with whom he could have lived out the rest of his school days in peace. He never went to such lengths for his other friends. Generally speaking, if it was of some benefit to him, he wasn't afraid of exploiting another. If they were no use, he didn't bother getting involved with them. That was how Tobimaro Tsukiji operated. Sojiro happened to be the type of person who provided no benefit to Tobimaru, yet somehow sparked in him a desire to help. It was not that friendship was completely alien to him. He just did not have many people he felt that close to. So if Sojiro had really fallen for Aoko, it was not its place as a friend to try to change his mind.
やれやれ。結局、惚れてるやつには理由なんていらねえんだな。
そんなことはない。理由なら一つある。彼女を一目見たときに綺麗だなって思ったぞ。
ん？
Tobimaru's shoulders slumped.
なんだ？あんだけ恥ずかしいセリフ言っといて、要は外見に惚れてますな。結局見てくれかよ、宗次郎。
Okay, let me sing it. Okay.
綺麗なものに見とれるのはいいことじゃないのか？
I mean, most guys are like that. When you see a person that is pretty, yes.
自分を綺麗に見せる努力をしているんだから、外見から内面を判断するのはそんなおかしな話じゃないと思う。
Yeah, guys would be attracted to it like most of the time.
ん？
That sounded like sophism to Tobimaru, but he had no counterpoint to offer.
しょうがねえ。わかったよ。この話はもうやめよう。その字が誰をてめえの女にするか、俺の知ったことじゃねえし。
Now, about the one major thing that Tobimaru had been mistaken about this whole conversation. Namely that Sojiro was not head over heels in love with Aoko and hoped to go steady with her. He merely liked her as a person. Nobody could have foreseen the massive calamity that would be caused by the simple misunderstanding.
だがよ、一つだけ忠告しておくぜ、宗次郎。青崎は喧嘩をした相手だろうと別に嫌うわけじゃない。逆に言えば親切にしたって別に好かれるわけでもない。いい例が俺だ。
I like how Sojiro said this. Where is it? Yeah, how they said this though. Sojiro was not head over heels in love with Aoko and hoped to go steady with her. Yes, he merely liked the person. I mean, yeah, you could see a pretty person, but it doesn't mean that even though you're attracted to her, it doesn't mean that you want to be in a relationship with that person. That's just it. Yes, you appreciate that, oh, that person is pretty, and that's it. He spoke with a pained sigh as if opening old wounds from the past.
そうか。詳しく。
おう、昔な、あいつがあんまりに独善的だったんで、つい手を挙げかけちまったことがある。半年前の夏だ。1年もあいつと生徒会やってたもんだから、俺も女っつうより戦友って気になっててな。
Wait, he hit her? Like punch her? Okay.
つい勢いで平手打ちをしようと右手を上げた。我ながら4番バッターも格也という腰のひねり。確かな実感とともに俺は勝利を確信したもんさ。
Okay. He had a distant look in his eyes as his words trailed off.
翌日になってこりゃ完全に敵扱いされたなと覚悟して生徒会室に行ってみりゃ、青崎はいつも通りだった。で、以来あいつと俺は会長と副会長で収まってる。
Sojiro sighed at his story. He then said with absolute confidence,
今の話を総合すると、君は単にのろけたいのか？
Okay. Clearly had missed the point entirely. Yes.
わけあるか。今の話のどこに甘酸っぱい要素があんだよ。
That I'm liking Tobimaru. Yeah. He's funny. Yeah, the character is entertaining. I really like him. I hope we have a lot of scenes with him in this game. Yeah.
俺としちゃあいつを女として見なくなった決定的な事件だったんだがね。
なんだ、違うのか。
A look of disappointed flittered across Sojuro's face. Tobimaru revised his opinion of him. Sojuro was something of a simpleton, but there was something more about him than Tobimaru could not quite place.
とにかくだ。俺が言いたいのは、青崎青子の好き嫌いの基準ってのは普通じゃないってことだ。いいことをすれば好かれる。気に入らないことをすれば嫌われる。ってわけじゃねえんだよ。あのお姫様は。
Sojuro answered that he would keep it in mind as he looked at the clock. They had been talking for a while and lunch was almost over.
もう君からの話はないか。
あ？初めからねえよ、そんなの。
ん？
Why had Tobimaru even brought him here in the first place? Sojuro tilted his head in wonder, but shook it off to deal with the more pressing matters at hand.
よし。じゃあもう少し付き合ってくれ。飛び丸に聞きたいことがあったんだ。
Tobimaru sat up straight, having never seen Sojuro's face look so serious before. Sojuro set aside his rice bowl and cleared his throat.
実は昨日、こんなことがあって。
He spoke solemnly, and as carefully as possible, he recounted what had occurred the night before.
しずきくんいる？
It was 10 to 12 and lunchtime was quickly coming to an end. Her face popped into Class C as lively as ever, as if it were an everyday occurrence. Aoko Ozaki announced her presence. While Aoko wasn't part of Class C, she didn't let it bother her as she casually entered the classroom. In contrast, the baby birds who had been so noisily chirping while eating lunch quickly quieted and began to rearrange their seats.
どういう意味よそれ。
She bristled internally before looking around the room. She could not see the male student she had come here to find. He hardly stood out, so she thought he might be hidden in a corner somewhere, but that appeared not to be the case.
有里くん、出席番号12番のしずきくんは？
Aoko kept her tone professional.
俺？しずきならさっき飛び丸殿下が連れて行ったよ。
His Highness. The boy was shocked that she actually knew his name. One might think that the reason students referred to Tobimaru Tsukiji by a royal title was because he was a chairman's son, but it was because he actually acted like royalty. In fact, the vice president was said to have taken a liking to the title.
飛び丸が？あいつしずきくんと仲いいの？
She seemed surprised. The class seemed surprised at her surprise.
いいも悪いも、築地くんが男子と仲良く話してるのって今まで見たことなかったよ、私たち。あ、木の実くんはバカだから別だけど。
Maybe Kinomi, but he's an idiot. Okay.
そうだよな。初めは殿下もあんまり話してなかったけど、3日もしたら楽しそうに口喧嘩してたもんな。ま、しずき相手に突っ張っても仕方ないじゃん。あいつ変だけどいいやつだし。
そうよね。いい人だもんね、宗十郎くん。
Having recomposed themselves, Class C started chatting again. Okay, so I think we will take a break here as Miss President is here, right? So honestly, I liked the conversation between Tobimaru and Sojuro. It was really nice though, and it was quite funny. Especially how what do you call this? They're showing Tobimaru as like, I don't know the words for it, but yeah, like his serious face, people respect him, even they're calling him his highness as well, right? Royalty. Acting like royalty. But then when he was talking with Soldier there, yeah, his face would do like nervous, shouting. Yeah, it was quite funny when they were talking there earlier. It was really really good. I do appreciate like slice of life moments like in anime shows. Like even if you know the show is like, oh, it's going to be like action, right? But if there's some slice of life moments in the beginning, I'm still totally down for it, and I still enjoy those moments, I mean, right? So yeah, I guess we are gonna continue this and do more on Witch on the Holy Night in the next one. So I'll just see you then, guys. Bye bye.